Hi everybody, Rich Fournier here from the Fournier Experience Real Estate Team here at RE/MAX Che in Barrie. Last week we promised you we'd bring in someone special, someone who's near and dear to our team and our heart. Her name's Petra Evans and she works with Scotiabank, and we wanted to bring her in to answer a few questions about mortgages. There's been a lot of changes over the past few months, and we thought it was important that we bring in a true professional who can guide you and help you make better decisions going forward. So welcome, Petra.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and I really appreciate the opportunity. So thank you. I'm excited.
Well, Petra did our mortgage, and she's worked with a lot of our clients. So we're really grateful to have her working with us in partnership with Scotiabank. So today we're going to talk about some things that may be of use to you if you're currently in the market to buy a property. So one of the questions that we have received from some of our clients are, what information should clients be bringing to you when they're ready to start talking about mortgages?
So clients really need to start that process of the approval sooner than later. So it's never too early to start the process of the pre-approval. So some of the documents that they're going to need to bring in with them are different depending on what they do. Are they full-time, self-employed? Are they part-time, commissioned? And based on that, I provide them with an email that has an attachment of what's called an appointment card, and I highlight in there everything that is pertinent to them that they should bring with them prior to the appointment. So it allows them time to gather the documents and allows them time to use that as a reference page to refer back to, so when they are collecting those documents, they'll know what they need to get. So then when we actually book the appointment, we're structured and ready to go with the pertinent documents right up front.
That's great. And so is it fair to say that you're one of those awesome people that actually go out to a client's house on their time and on their terms?
So yeah, I basically am unique with Scotiabank because I am mobile, and I can go to their office, I can go to their home, or meet them at a branch and do the application. So when we are doing the application, it allows me to have that flexibility in what it is that they're looking to do and make sure that we can execute for them on a more timely manner.
Let me ask you a question. So today I decide I want to start looking for properties, and I call you up just to give everyone a picture of what needs to happen. So I call you up, and what paperwork do I have to send you to prove that I am who I am,
right? That
I can afford what I can afford,
yep,
that I make what I make? What kind of paperwork are they going to have to get ready to send to you?
So that's a good question, because a lot of people have an idea that they just need to bring in a pay stub and then that's good to go. So everyone's idea of what they do for a job might be different in their mind versus what the government dictates what category they fall into. So for example, somebody that's a salaried full-time employee makes the same amount of money every 2 weeks. That's pretty simple. You bring in a letter of employment, 2 pay stubs to confirm the last, 2 most recent ones to confirm the employment, and you're ready to rock. You don't really need a whole lot. That would be an easy process for somebody that is first-time home buyer.
And sorry to interrupt. For example, I'm in real estate. I'm self-employed. What would a self-employed individual need to prove that they can afford a home?
So again, for somebody that's self-employed, commission type structure, we would need to use an average of 2 years.
So 2 years.
So 2-year T4 commission statement, so T4A, they bring that in and we would do the average based on that. And that's just a true T4. If you're a business for self and you write a whole bunch of stuff down, then that's going to get a little bit granular. We'll need a lot more documents to confirm what you can afford. Maybe business financials, sole proprietorship, so you'll start to get into the statement of business activities on there. And we really start to collect documents to prove that they can afford what they're looking for. So yeah, again, depending on what you do, we may ask for additional documents.
One of the questions we've had from a client that we did send over to you was, since you work at a bank,
yes,
as opposed to an outside mortgage person, how can you offer those clients who maybe have a more complicated situation,
yep,
versus just a straight salaried individual?
So in those circumstances, those clients that have the untraditional and unique transactions still will need that process of figuring out what they're going to do to approve. So for me, it's not necessarily about the institution or the broker.
Right.
It's going to be about what the advisor is going to do for them. Are they
Right.
setting them up for the right stage? Again, for me, collecting all those documents up front, knowing exactly the direction that we need to go into to say, yes, you qualify for this amount, and we go through it, or something else-wise, it gives them the confidence and peace of mind that when they're going to go shopping, they've already been vetted for that approval.
Right.
Versus, sometimes, you can have your paperwork inputted with whatever numbers you want on there, but if you don't have the document to support it, it could be a false approval.
Right. Right.
Right? So, shop around. Your home is the biggest investment you're going to make in a long time.
Hold on here. No, don't shop around. You're just going to use Petra. There's no reason to use anybody else.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
One thing I do know that Petra will give you the right advice. So sometimes if you are not a traditional borrower, meaning that your income is a little bit scattered and you have different types of income, you may have to go down the road of maybe getting a private mortgage, but Petra will look at all that information and will advise you and say, maybe you shouldn't be buying the house.
Yeah.
Maybe you should just be renting for at least another year while you sort some things out. So it's so important to have someone in your corner who really truly is going to look at your unique situation to help you make a much more educated and qualified decision. So we highly recommend Petra, and I think you should definitely reach out to her if you have any questions. Is there anything else that you want to add about what makes you so awesome?
Well,
shameless self-promotion is what we do.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. I've been in the industry for 22 years, so my knowledge is definitely pretty strong with what's out there, what's happening, the customer service piece, which is important, communication, making sure the client is aware of where they are throughout the entire process, answering emails, phone calls, all the basic kind of service stuff that puts those clients at ease when they are in that process. It's very stressful, right?
It is stressful.
So 22 years, I bring lots to the table, and I'm just happy that I'm in a position right now that I can help clients outside of those traditional 9 to 5 hours, that I can kind of help them outside of work, or I have a client that's on midnight, so
Right.
Reaching and connecting is via email and text messaging, and
right.
so you're not going to get that at a regular branch or even sometimes a brokerage, because they're still sometimes 9 to 5, right? So
Got it.
yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So Petra, this year there's been some major changes announced by OSFI, which is the Ontario Superintendent of Financial Institutions, who regulate the big banks and mortgage lending here in Ontario. And I was hoping you could share a little bit of information about what has transpired over the past few months.
So that's a great question, Rich, because there has been a lot of changes over the last few years, but more so in January they implemented that bank qualifying rate. So the government implemented it. It's across the board. It's not just with Scotiabank. It's
So it's for all lending institutions.
Lending. Exactly. You got it. So
Federally.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you got it. So what's going to happen is this. You have to qualify if you're putting less than 20% down. You have to qualify at the Bank of Canada benchmark rate for the 5-year term, which currently is sitting at 5.14%.
Okay.
So you put 10% down, your qualifying rate is 5.14.
So-
that is not your commitment rate.
Okay, so
which is
that's not
different.
what I'm paying at.
No, it is not. So your rate could be 3.19. That's what you negotiated on for your contract rate, but that's not what you qualify for. So
that's not what I have to qualify. Can I afford something at the 5.14%?
exactly,
Okay.
you got it. So if you're putting more than 20% down, which was introduced this year, how do you qualify? So again, the Government of Canada has said, we want to make sure you can qualify for that higher rate. But whatever the contract rate is being offered to you, so again, in this example, I'm going to say your rate is for a 5-year 3.39.
Okay.
You add 200 basis points or 2% to that contract rate to now give you 5.39%. So I've
Yeah.
added 200 basis points.
Yeah.
And now you have to make sure that you can afford the amount that we want to borrow at that higher rate.
At that higher rate. So essentially, it's decreasing purchasing power.
It is. So your clients now have to rejig maybe some of those numbers or purchase price points that they were wanting to make sure that they can qualify for. So what's really challenging is a lot of homeowners that maybe are selling and rebuying have never experienced anything like this before. So again, going back to that pre-approval stage, it's super important that they do go back and just make sure, hey, am I okay for this? Because I know a lot of stuff has changed and I want to make sure that we're shopping confidently in the right purchase area, like point area.
Perfect. I think it's a great explanation.
Yeah.
So if you are in the market and you have had a pre-approval maybe late last year and you're still thinking of buying and you think that you may be able to afford something, you may not be able to afford it today. So would it be fair to say that they should come back and maybe chat with you to see if they can afford it?
Absolutely. And making sure that it just fits, all the dynamics fit, because the property taxes will come into play, the location of where they're looking at buying, as far as, again, the bigger piece is the property taxes. So every time we make a change on the application, the ratios will move and slide back and forth, so you want to make sure that you still fit within those guidelines.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much for that information.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So over the next couple of weeks, we're going to bring Petra back and we're going to talk a little bit about home improvement. So if you are buying a property and it's not maybe up to snuff, what options are there for you to be able to make some renovations to that house? In the meantime, next week we will bring you a brand new update about what's happening in the local real estate market, as well as what is happening in a greater Horseshoe, Toronto, GTA area. Because I think it's important that we keep an eye on what's happening south of us, because it does affect what's happening up here in Simcoe County. And at the end of the day, if you're thinking of buying or selling, don't hesitate to reach out to us with any questions that you may have. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Have a great week.
Bye.